This is a pretty bog standard 12-year-old Sussex tap little flick mixer, but it leaks. You can see it dripping down there every time it's turned on and off. Now what it takes is a ceramic replacement 35mm cartridge, and I'm going to attempt to replace it. First steps, isolate the water supply. Okay, water supply off. Alright, now the water supply is isolated. Whoop, that's it. A couple of drips. So I can start to dismantle this. So the first thing to do is to remove this end. So this actual handle screws out, and then you can see that there is a grub screw in there. So I've got to get my little Allen key and take that grub screw out. Like that. And then this should just come off. Hasn't come off in 12 years, so it might need a little bit of assistance. A bit of trusty WD. So what I've got is a handy piece of old rubber band, big fatty, and just wrap it around, a bit like a tourniquet, around the handle like that, so it gives a nice good grip purchase. And just wiggle that. These can be extremely tight, I understand, and this one is no exception, hasn't come off in 12 years. I don't want to put a screwdriver under this in case I wreck it. So that's the inside. Doesn't look too bad actually. A bit of CLR will clean that up nicely. And that's the next thing that's got to come off. So I've got to also wrap my rubber band around here and get this off. And that's, use a rubber band if you don't have a rubber grip wrench. So again, I've got my handy little bit of rubber strap there, and I'm going to try and simply twist that off like so. And that's it. So it's going to go in a little bath of CLR. And now what I need to do is get a shifter and take that little retaining threadle it off. Get my trusty shifter, and it's got to come off lefty loosey, righty tighty. Just make sure you brace the tap so you don't put too much torque or too much of a moment on the fitting to the sink. You can feel that coming already, so there's not a great deal of pressure on that, not a great deal of force required to undo it. There we go. Now I've just got to take note of how this one went in. There are two locating lugs at the back, and hopefully the replacement will be the same, and it looks like it is. Out with the old. Dimensionally they look the same, well, similar, and in with the new. You can see in there where the locating lugs have to go. Okay, so now the reassembly. So put the ceramic cartridge back in, give it a wiggle. Put the locking thread back in. I've given everything a bit of a clean in CLR, calcium lime rust remover. Now I think the trick is going to be not to over tighten this. And of course what I can do is again to brace that. Just make it, there we go, a little bit tighter than hand tight. And then once this is on, basically replicate how that's going to go. That's going to be up, so it's in perfect position. Now you've got to do the same thing in reverse, which is to use our little grip, handmade gripper, and wrap it the direction that you want to tighten. This one does not want to stay on. Well, it feels pretty tight. Grub screw back in. Again, that doesn't have to be particularly tight. Wrap that again with a bit of rubber, tighten that up. It's going to be a bit easier later on when it's dry. And I'll go and de-isolate the main water supply and see if it works. Now when you're doing this, it's always a good idea not to slam this open, because then the hydraulic shock can crack any pipes that are close to breaking. So really cracking the valve, open it as gently as you can. See the water coming through. And then you can open it. All done. Okay, smoke test. And it works, which is great. Question is, does it leak? So time will tell, but it shouldn't.
Now how much does all this cost, you ask? Well, I paid $75 for a ceramic seal kit, and when I had a quick look on eBay, they range from about $2.50 up to sort of $10, $12, $13. So save your money, get the part number, and buy one from overseas. Don't spend $75.
Now I can get back to what I really want to do, which is to make my beautiful chili jam. Fantastic. About 20 chilies in there. Cannot wait.